I think you've got a bit more news as well, haven't you? But I might as well break things up.
To yours, mate. Go on.
With a little bit of news. Well, now, the sharp-eared amongst you will remember last week, I think it was last week, I started to mention something and then stopped mentioning it halfway through the comment because I couldn't remember what it was called. And then I couldn't find it. And I was like, oh, that was... well, that was a bit of a mess. But I found what it was. The advert popped up again. And we have spoken, especially myself and Ross, in the past about the future of VR gaming and what its place it has in this particular aspect of the gaming community. And there has been something that's been sort of funneled called Demeo, Demeo. And the reason I mention it of note is that it is effectively a sort of Hero Quest style yarn where you have the wizard, you've got the rogue, you've got the barbarian, and you travel through a dungeon and do all that sort of stuff. Now, it is in VR, so you are there with your friends, and then when you put the thing on, and Chris has already come in being, Demeo is great! Yeah, this was news to me, man. News to me. It looks really, really cool. It's got loads of good reviews, and... it's nice to see that fusion because not only do you cast a spell as a wizard, but you actually cast the spell and it goes boof. Like it looks like some pretty impressive effects go off, and when you look at your friends, there's the barbarian and things like this.
So when you cast a spell, do you flip through a book and press a button, or do you gesture a symbol in the air, or do you lob like a little tennis ball at your friend, or what? How does that work?
I don't know. Because I haven't played it yet. But Chris has played it. He's just said he spent a large part of his weekend playing it. It's so much fun. Tell us, Chris, because I'm really, really interested, your impressions of Demeo. You have cards you play from your hand. Ah, yes, I think I did see that on the trailer. So you sort of go poof. But then it does a sort of light and spell effect when you slap your card down. Because obviously, this is something we discussed, that you need to do satisfying things, and stuff like that. But I know that, we've been fairly unimpressed with the offerings thus far. But this looks actually pretty good. And the great Dangerling, that is Chris, aka Alucard, is all behind it. So I'm doubly excited about it now. So maybe at some point I'll get it and then we can do a proper review.
Good. I haven't got much first person experience with VR, although I did go one time with Drum to an arcade in a shopping mall where we went through a Star Wars experience complete with blasters and stuff, and the pair of us and my girlfriend at the time, we just just headshotting like stormtroopers and stuff. It was quite well, I'm not gonna say realistic because I don't want to be like Dean from Community, but it felt, I winced when stormtroopers shot at me. I flinched and everything. I ducked for cover.
Yeah,
it was a whole thing.
I remember that. It was actually really, really, it was a lot of fun. Quite short, I remember, because my friend very kindly booked it for me, my friend John, and we were like, oh, it's exciting, and it is really cool. And then it finishes and you're like, oh, wow, ooh. Okay, that was quick. But I do particularly like the way they combined the set with things like, it's you can't do it anymore. It's finished quite some time ago, I believe. But there's a bit where the doors open and you landed next to a volcanic sort of lava crater and you have to walk across the bridge and they blast hot air at you. And the double effect of that was really effective. I was like, oh my God.
That was, actually, I just remembered that. I shit my pants. I forgot about that. That was such an effect. I didn't know if it was going to get hotter. I couldn't tell if it was coming from underneath me or across from me. It was absolutely terrifying, that bit.
Apparently, if you did fall off the bridge, they actually set you alight. There was a dude there with some petrol, just to,
Immersion!
You will be immersed. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. And as Stu says, if it's like Stormtroopers, then you miss every single barn door. Yeah, don't worry, they didn't hit you. But they did get quite close.
They were quite bad. They were quite bad at it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Chris, a little update on Demeo. Just a thing that says, you're looking over the battle mat, and it looks like someone has spent a lot of money on Dwarven Forge terrain.
Oh, cool.
See, there could be actual applications for this, because obviously, Warhammer's a massive spin-off now for their actual full-on computer games. But hey, what about a future where you could assemble armies and play in that sort of tabletop version as well? Who knows? Who knows? We are one step closer to sitting on floating discs and not leaving the house with something strapped onto our face.
Do you reckon that Games Workshop or Warhammer then would start charging you for the VR copies that you've got of your physical models? Because that's where they make their money, in it. Their models are so expensive. So
it would be, I imagine, the model would be that they'd be cheaper. but you would have to pay for your units and a packs and stuff like that, because it's all about microtransactions in that kind of setup. It normally is anyway. I mean, things like, it's a very common model now, Call of Duty Warzone, which is a very popular shooter at the moment. The game is free. It's an add-on to the Call of Duty franchise. However, they make a lot of money through microtransactions, battle passes and this and that and something else. Fortnite's the same. So I imagine they probably take that route. And do you know what? I think people would go for both, because some people love the minis and painting, and some people want to love the minis and painting but don't have enough money. And I mean, God knows I'd have loved that as a kid if they were like, "Oh, do you mean it's not £8 for 6 orc archers? Good." I'm so glad. Mate,
£8 now. You're dreaming, mate. You're dreaming. If only it was £8 for 6 orc archers these days.
Oh, them were the days, I tell you what. Oh, get 8 orc archers. Well, yeah, and also they've counteracted it by making the armies a lot smaller. You're like, yes. Back in my day, it was like, no, if you've got 60, you have to have 60 goblins in that regiment. You're like, 60 goblins. Yes.
20.
Oh!
Yep, baby.
Well crit. Double damage.
Yep.
And the effect of olfactory overload. The target loses all sense of smell and any scent ability until healed.
Wow. Great.
Suddenly it loses its sense of smell. It loses its sense of taste.
Got COVID. Got corona.
It's got COVID, yeah.
It's got COVID.
Quickly runs off to get a self-check.
He has to self-isolate now.
Well, I'm not going to lie. It was a max damage. Yeah, mate. Take that in the eye. Just at the end as well, I'd like to the rapier to do a Zorro and cut Bubba into the sides.
Not just like a bee, like write the entire. Do you want to write Von Hoops as well, or how many actions do you want to spend?
Bubba Von Hoops, the Danger Club.
You immediately get a text from NHS Track and Trace because you're the last known contact of this. This
Oh God.